Hi everybody! I'm gonna show you today how to varnish a painting and everything that I use to varnish it. So, I have this nice painting that needs to be varnished. I use the Liquitex gloss varnish and I use this 3-inch brush. I like to put my varnish in a container. Actually, I use that one for water. This is the one for the varnish. I just put it in. Put a little more because I have more canvases to varnish. So my brush is dry. You can also wet it if you want, but I just go right in with a dry brush. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more. So I'm gonna put the first coat on right now and you'll see the difference that it makes. My brush is really loaded with paint. It's so loaded that it's actually kind of dripping. So with it, I just slowly and with a steady hand, I push the varnish. I don't actually push it. I kind of let the gravity do the work. And I just go in one motion without over brushing. I can go back to remove the excess varnish because my brush was quite loaded. And I just keep going in the same direction, nice and slow. Every time I run out of varnish, I just reload my brush and I make sure that everything is covered and that it has the same amount of varnish on the top. Do you see what a difference it makes? How the varnished side really reflects, lets more light go in, and it really improves the contrast. I'm just gonna do the same for the other half. Look at that. It really brings it to life, especially if you've used Floetrol for the pour. Floetrol tends to leave the canvas more matte than a Liquitex pouring medium. So if you use Floetrol, chances are your canvas isn't very glossy and shiny. But you can use the gloss varnish to bring it back to life. Now I don't want to go too many times over the same area that I've done because you can give it a milky look or an overbrushed look, but I just want to make sure I don't have too much excess varnish on my canvas. So then I go and cover my sides. Let me show you how. I don't want to have too much. I can just go like this. Alright, I get it like this, just adjacent to the edge. And I get the other edge. I'm trying to be careful not to touch the edge to the table right now. I'm always going in the same direction and trying to cover every single bit. And then I get the remaining edge, and don't even worry if when you're done varnishing you find a spot that is not covered. Don't go back because you risk going over an already dried varnish, and if you go it might ruin it. So it's better to just let it dry, and in about 3 hours I'm gonna give this canvas another coat of varnish. So this is the first coat. It's always good to give to put the gloss varnish first, and then if you want your canvas to have a more matte finish, then you can always put a matte finish later. But this is how it looks after the first coat. Let me show you one that is already varnished and dried. This is the finish that you'll get. And if you want to give it a more matte, more satin finish, you can have a little less glossy. I mixed this with a matte finish, so this is matte mixed with gloss. And here's another glossy. So that's that. In about 3 hours I'm gonna be adding another coat, and happy painting. So this is 3 hours later. I'm back. Now I'm gonna put another coat on this. Just getting my varnish, and I left my paintbrush in a little tin of water so that it doesn't dry. When I know I'm gonna go back to varnishing soon, I don't even dry it anymore because it takes a lot to clean it, the varnish off. So first I went up and down, now I'm gonna make sideways strokes to make sure that I don't get any patterns and the same kind of strokes in here. And every time I'm going in, I'm dipping my paintbrush in the varnish. As you can see, when I first laid down, it has a milky appearance, and the milkiness will go away as the varnish dries. It's much easier to put on the second coat because it glides very smoothly onto the glossy canvas. So I'm just going in the same direction. I can also go back and forth like this, as long as I keep my strokes parallel and all going in the same direction. I'm laying down quite a bit of varnish, after which I'm just evening it out and making sure that I don't have too much excess. And I look sideways to see how it shines, just to make sure that I've covered everything. Now this is the second coat of varnish. I could go with a third coat, and depending on how it looks when it's all dry, I may do that. But if it all looks even, you don't need a third coat necessarily. If you choose to go with a different sheen for the last coat of varnish, because you can put a matte coat afterwards, or you can mix some gloss with some matte for a satin look, which I do that sometimes when I don't want a pure matte, because it's sometimes too dull, and I don't want a pure glossy because it photographs badly. So I'm just going to cover the sides, and I think it's done. So here's how it glosses, how it shines in the light. It's quite glossy, and as it dries, those brush strokes will even out. You see what depth it provides. You can see those contrasts so much better. Now this is a pour that I've embellished with some bubbles. While we're at it, I do have another one that I wanted to give one last coat to, so I'm gonna do that right now. Since we're at it, why not? And this is my dragon eye that I need to varnish as well. So let's do that. If you're interested to purchase one of these canvases, they're gonna be in my shop for sale soon, and check them out. I also put up Facebook videos, instructional, and on YouTube, sometimes. I'm on Instagram as well. Check me out. Subscribe to my newsletter if you go on my website. I've also added a PayPal donate button in the footer if you'd like to support me in making, and my art in making and bringing you these videos. Just really slowly and very lightly. I'm barely grazing the canvas. Most of the work is done by the gravity, so you don't have to work it. Don't have to work it. I'm getting the sides. And if you see little air bubbles popping up, don't worry. They'll most likely disappear by the time it's dry. And there you have it, another varnished canvas. So these will take about an hour to dry, just about. See how glossy it is. This one has a very interesting metallic iridescent sheen that I've added after I've painted the whole canvas. So like and share and subscribe, and keep posted until the next time. Bye bye!